What's your sparkbird story? What is a sparkbird story? In fact, what is a sparkbird? So glad you asked. Hello everyone, I'm Aaron, a birding naturalist. Let's talk about sparkbirds and the Sparkbird Project. A sparkbird is that bird, that moment, that experience that really kind of catalyzes and galvanizes someone's interest in birding. So lots of birders can sort of think back on that moment that really kind of grabbed them, that moment that set them on the path to being interested in birds and wanting to know more about birds and wanting to watch birds more and trying to sort of get into birding more and more and more. That moment, that's the sparkbird moment. Every sparkbird moment is unique, right? Every person has had a different experience with a different bird, can sort of remember back to that moment that kind of grabbed their attention, and it's their own personal, individual moment. But while every one of these moments is unique, it's possible that there are commonalities between them. And investigating that is an interesting idea. It's an interesting idea being pursued by a professor of social sciences and psychology at Canisius University. And if I said the name of that university wrong, by all means, correct me in the comments. But Professor Jen Lodi-Smith is looking into this. She's asking these questions. What makes a sparkbird moment? When do people have them? Who has them? Are there particular emotions that are connected? Are there general features to the experience that seem to make sparkbird moments happen more often? I think this is a really interesting set of questions. It's a really great example of how social sciences and sort of more biological sciences, more biological activities, nature activities can kind of intersect and come together. And we can learn a lot by that intersection. Because if there are features, if there are commonalities between different sparkbird moments that different people have, maybe we can learn something about that, and maybe we can do something as a community to sort of encourage those moments to happen more often. Maybe it's the types of bird walks we lead. Maybe it's the types of groups we form. I don't know. But if there is something that could help us all make these moments more frequent, encourage more people to try out birding, and then kind of stack the deck so that a sparkbird moment is more likely somehow, then that's the kind of thing that's going to grow the hobby of birding. That's the kind of thing that's going to sustain the hobby of birding into the future. That's the kind of thing that's going to make birding more inclusive, more welcoming to more people. That's the kind of thing that's going to make the birding community more just, more diverse, more inclusive, more equitable community. And I think all those things are all to the good. So I think these kind of community science experiment and this research has a lot to yield to the birding community. I definitely remember my sparkbird story. And if you're curious to know my sparkbird story, you can check out the Sparkbird podcast, because yes, the Sparkbird Project has a podcast. And I was invited on for an episode, and it was great. We had a wonderful chat about sparkbirds and the birding community and my memories. And so by all means, you can check out that Sparkbird podcast. I will leave a link in the description to the podcast down below. If you're curious to know what my sparkbird is, I'll leave a little Easter egg at the very end of this video. Stick around to the end, give you a hint. Also, like I did, I shared my sparkbird story with the Sparkbird Project. It's very easy to do. You can go on the website, type in your story, send it off to Jen. And I really encourage you to do this as well. The Sparkbird Project is currently in its massive data gathering phase. So they are trying to accumulate as many Sparkbird stories as they possibly can, because of course, the more stories that they have, the better a representation of what a Sparkbird moment, a Sparkbird experience is. And so the more likely they are to find powerful, interesting, informative information. So you want to start off, as with any study, a really broad, diverse, rich data set. And so that's where we come in. The more people who go and share our stories with the Sparkbird Project, the better the results will be. So I'll also leave a link in the description down below to where you can go to the Sparkbird Project and share your story. And I really, really encourage you to do that. I want everybody who possibly can to share their Sparkbird story. If you're even vaguely comfortable with it, send it off and participate in this citizen science community social science research project. And it's one where I really think that it can all come back and benefit all of us. So I did, like I said, had a great time. I really enjoy sharing my Sparkbird story and then being invited on the podcast and being able to talk about it in a little bit more detail. All great experiences. And so I highly recommend it. And highly encourage you to also share your story. So that's a bit about the Sparkbird Project. I hope you enjoyed learning about it. I hope you share it. And I hope you keep your eyes open for the results that this is going to yield in a couple of years. We could all stand to learn from this kind of research project. And I hope that it yields wonderful research. And I also hope that lots more social scientists get into this intersection of nature and social sciences and help to discover and uncover all the amazing things that we stand to learn. So thank you very much for the view. As always, subscribe to the channel if you like this kind of content and enjoy the natural world.